this evening? My domination over the partnership is working out well. The words I said earlier are really sticking. But no, joking aside, thanks so much for everyone coming along. I'm just say literally a few words on behalf of Sian and I, and she may well pop up. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what she's going to do. So she may well pop up in a few seconds and say something.
Okay.
But a few thank yous. Firstly, to the Cricket Well, while we started off, those of you who were there. Secondly, to the bus company, who actually, I was amazed that bus did not break down. Getting us over here. To Dan and the crew over here at the Lido, thanks so much for some great food and looking after us here. My best man this evening is a very, very old friend of mine, Michael Todd, who's over there. He's going to say a few words. He's got about 85 pages over there. I've known Michael since we were 8 years old, so Michael, I'm very glad. He found out 2 weeks ago that he was my best man. Not that I worked to deadlines, that's what I'm trying to do. It was only when Lorenzo, our photographer, so thank you, said, who's the best man? I said, it's Michael, but I haven't actually told him yet. And I realised I should ought to have a conversation. So Michael, thanks so much for not stepping in, but you were always number one, best man. I just hadn't got around to actually asking you and being organised about the whole thing. So, and Sian, thanks so much, because Sian organised the whole thing. I did absolutely zero. But what I did do, actually, about 4 or so years ago, is get drunk and in a place called the Magic Circle, actually chat Sian up. I did some Tommy Cooper gags, and a few little tricks, and somehow I won Sian over. I'm not quite sure how, but anyhow. What I'd like to say is, I'm not going to do any gags or tricks now, because they will just go wrong. But there's a story behind actually us getting married. I work for a American company, a New York company. My boss and his wife are here tonight, so thanks so much for coming across from the States. Basically, Sian came across we went to New York in December of last year, and it was so cold. It was so cold, I can't tell you. It makes the Lido water here feel like absolutely cooking temperature. It was so cold, and we walked through Central Park, and literally my lips were frozen, my mouth was frozen, my arms were frozen. We were just frozen. It was so cold. I can't believe it. New York gets so cold in December. And I actually said to Sian, I said, and if those of you who know Central Park, they have the horse and carriages that go around, and they always seem to be Irish, the guys who kind of drive these things for some reason. And I said, shall we get a horse and carriage? And my lips were quite frozen, and I don't speak particularly well sometimes. And it came out as, shall we get married? Or that's at least what Sian heard. So, next time I was like, fantastic darling, let's go for it. And I was like, well no, they're over there, the horses are that way. And we were heading a champagne bar, a colour circle this way. Anyhow, the rest is history. So, I found out about 2 weeks ago, actually. Thanks so much for the impromptu turning up. No, joking aside, there's some people who aren't with us this evening because they can't be with us and because they're no longer with us, and for those who can't make it because they're dispersed around the world. But those who can't be with us because they're no longer with us, which includes my mother, my father, and Sian's father. Sian didn't ever meet my father. Literally, I found out my dad was on his deathbed, 24 hours to go, and I pulled out the picture of Sian. This is absolutely serious. And I said, this is the woman I'm going to marry. And my dad kind of looked at me, looked at the picture, and looked at me like, because he'd never heard of this. What? And he just nodded and he smiled, and that was one of the last, not conversations, but interactions I had with my father, seriously. and you know, he died 24 hours later. But you know, not trying to shout the note. But you know, I didn't get to meet Sian's father either. But Sian did get to meet my mother, and my mother loved Sian dearly. And you know, we lost Mum. Well, literally back in February. And what we managed to do was actually, you know, we knew that Mum wasn't going to be here at the wedding, or we hadn't actually set the date yet because we knew she wasn't going to be here. And we decided to go for an engagement afternoon tea and to introduce Mum to Sian's family, Sian's mother, sister, you know, Lily, Steve, you know. It was a lovely afternoon tea, and one of the wonderful things about that, at the time Mum had, it was 2 weeks before she died, and literally, we knew she was very excited. It was like, Mum, it's on Saturday, right? Okay, we'll come and pick you up in the taxi. On the Wednesday, she phoned me. I'm ready. It's like, Mum, it's Saturday. It's like, literally, the Thursday, I'm ready, I've done it again, Simon. It's like, Mum, it's Saturday, we'll let you know when it's ready. And so she got ready 3 times, which was wonderful. But it made so much, it was so special that Mum was with us on our engagement do, and literally, you know, Mum passed away 2 weeks later on. So anyhow, I'm not trying to take this kind of down on it. You know, we're here to celebrate life. But what I'd like to do is you know, I'm going to end up now with saying a couple of things. One, I'm going to propose a toast to, I have to bend down, my goodness. One, I'm going to propose a toast to my wonderful bride and wife. And I'm going to wrap this in to a toast also to, you know, our parents and friends who can't and, you know, won't ever be with us again. And there's a number of people, I'm not going to go roll call on that because it's too long, unfortunately. But also friends who can't be with us who are around the world. So I'd like to raise a toast to absent friends. Absent friends. And basically, have fun tonight. I'm going to hand you across now to my very good friend, Michael Todd.
He's dreading it.
He might look like a Southeast London gangster, but he's actually a copper, and it's more fun. So I'm going to hand across to Michael.
Thank you very much, Ron. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends. I'm going to grab your attention for a couple of minutes. As I said, Simon asked me about 2 weeks ago to be his best man. For those who don't know me, my name is Mike, and I'm Simon's best man. And one of my duties today is to say a few words which incriminate Simon and let Sian know what she's really in for. Fortunately, Sian, as I've mentioned, this will be short and sweet. And will not be the case, but for anyone who wants to know the finer points on Simon, you can see me at the bar later. When Simon asked me to be his best man, albeit just over 2 weeks ago, I actually had many questions to be answered. What had I done to be bestowed to be such an honour? Had someone else refused? And simply, has he got no friends? More importantly than all of these, could I myself refuse and still get an invite to consume loads of free alcohol? No, seriously, Simon, I was thrilled and happy to carry out this duty, best man for you. Thank you, Simon. So, Simon Vassar Fruscia and I have known each other for approximately about 34, 36 years. He is one of 2 children, and his sister Helen, they grew up in Barnet in Hertfordshire, above a butcher shop. This was a very successful butcher shop run by Simon's parents, John and Rita Fruscia, both who I knew very well and I know were loved dearly by Simon and Helen. And they had a wonderful sense of humour and much loved by anyone who knew them. But sadly, as Simon's mentioned, they passed away recently. And they will be very happy to know Simon is one, getting married, and two, to a wonderful girl like Sian.
Yeah.
I would also like to remember Sian's father, Alan, who is also not with us to celebrate this wonderful day, and who I'm sure, like John and Risa, Alan was a wonderful person and happy to know that Sian has found Simon. I again would like to raise a toast to absent friends, John, Rita and Alan, the much loved and missed parents.
Yeah.
As I've mentioned, I've known Simon for some time now, and it doesn't surprise me that he arranges things at the last minute. I apologise to those that wanted to stitch Simon up on a stag do prior to this day, but I'm sure we can conduct a drink untraditionally after Simon returns from his honeymoon, where perhaps we can take an eyebrow or two off, or even perhaps a wax. Simon has always been a kind of a ladies' man who's never short of dating a female or two.
Oh, two.
And of course, that's if you could call them females. But I know from meeting Sian for the first time some 4 years ago that he had found a wonderful girl. Sian is bright, intelligent, and of course, gorgeous. And I know she would never miss a trick with Simon. And I'm sure you'll all agree, Sian is the star of today, looking beautiful and composed as ever. Simon's a lucky guy, and I'm pleased he has finally settled down. Simon, it's been great to know you over the last 34 years or so, and you've been a brilliant mate who I can trust and call on if ever I had any problems. Thank God I haven't. And it's been an honour to be your best man today. Here's to a lifetime of happiness and love for Simon and Sian and you, Mr. and Mrs. Fruscia. Thank you very much, and enjoy the